Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku Was the Only Male with Quirk in a World Ruled by Women, MassiveHarem Part 1. Before we start, please go support ancalagonintheblack for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear. Deku is male in this story. Chapter 1. In a world where people had a quirk being what gives them powers, but there was a small detail, and that was that men had a flaw in their genetics, making them, unlike women, not have a quirk, causing women to be the ones to take the control of everything to the point that they had more rights than men, being something totally unequal apart from the fact that men always received mistreatment from women, since supposedly they can do whatever they want. Right now in a low park tree there was a group of friends. Hiroshima. How are you doing at the moment? Bakugo. What the buck do you want me to tell you? Everything is the same as always. Lita. We definitely have to plan to meet more often. Todoroki. But we can practically leave our homes whenever we want. Haminari. They're right, the girls don't care about us in some way, they don't care about us, and we know it very well. Everyone nodded in agreement. The group of friends was made up of a total of 9 boys. Kirishima, a black-haired man with red eyes. Bakugo, an ash-haired man with eyes of the same color. Lito, a blue-haired man who wore glasses. Kaminari, a blonde with a kind of black lightning in his head, while he had yellow eyes. Todoroki, a boy whose hair was half white and half red. His eyes were one light blue and the other red. Ejiro, a blonde with eyes of the same color. Shoji, a boy white-haired man with brown eyes. Mienta, a purple-haired man with eyes of the same color. And Izuku, a green-haired man with eyes of the same color. Izuku. Do we have to think of something? Ejiro. And what do you want to think? Izuku. We can't always. Todoroki. Here they come. Everyone looked at a part of how a group of girls were about to pass by that place. Izuku. Hide, I know, I'll take care of it. The boys listened, but with concern about whatever was going to happen to their friend who seemed to be the leader of the group. The girls arrived to see Izuku sitting under that tree. Izumi. What useless step. Your friends left you. Izumi Midoriya, Izuku's sister. Izuku didn't answer, only he had his eyes closed while he had a smile. Izumi. Speak or I'll break your face. Izumi, Bakugo's sister. The other girls were Uraraka, a brown-haired woman with a quirk that can remove gravity. Jiru, a purple-haired woman with a quirk that allows her to hear what is happening around her. Ash-haired Kasumi with a quirk of explosions. Izumi. Green-haired with a fire-breathing quirk. Red-haired Kazami, sister of Kirishima, a toughness quirk. Kiri, Kaminari's sister, a blonde-haired girl with an electricity quirk. Shota, Todoroki's sister, a red-haired girl with a fire quirk. Izuku. To be honest, I have nothing to say to harpies like you. She said it with a mocking smile, but as she did so she ended up receiving a blow from Kasumi, knocking her to the ground, but she got up. Kasumi. Do you want more? Izuku. Can't you hit harder? Women are only strong because of their quirk, and that is why they do not train. When it comes to a fight without quirks, men are more than superior to you, and that leaves me with only one thing. Shota. With what? Izuku. That men are superior to you, and that is why I will never feel envious of someone who is weaker than me. Obviously those words did not like the girls, who reacted by hitting him in the face followed by another in the stomach, but the boy did not fall to the floor, but Kasumi used her quirk, leaving Izuku lying on the floor, so that he could begin to kick him. Until they left it so that some knelt. Kasumi. I don't know if you're brave or stupid. Izuku. Say anything nice that won't change anything. Kasumi. Without a doubt, if you become something good or at least stable by the time you grow up, I will definitely use you as my personal toy. Uraraka. Not if I take it first. Some girls looked in a predatory way at Izuku, who was only on the floor, so they left the place so that he could start to get up, and his friends began to approach to start helping him get up. Hiroshima. Izuku, you are a real man, but you have to stop always putting yourself at risk for us. Izuku. Don't worry, Kirishima, I don't care how many times I have to put myself in danger for you, I will protect you, you are my friends. Todoroki. Definitely, if we were animals, Izuku would undoubtedly be the alpha. Bakugo. Yes, but we can't continue putting up with this, we have to do something. Izuku. That's why I thought of a plan, a way for men to have more power and take control in this society, but there is a small detail. Lita. Which one? Izuku. I will need your help to be able to make this plan. Todoroki. Are you sure, Izuku? Izuku. My friend, look at you, your own sister gave you that burn, and your mother did nothing about it, the rest were beaten and humiliated. Hiroshima. And what about you? Izuku. I was only hit a little, one cut more than another, you know what I'm going to tell you, but the most important thing is that Bakugo is right, we can't continue to bear this, so tonight at exactly 10 PM I would like them to be on the abandoned train tracks. Mineta. What are we going to do there? Izuku. I have a plan, Mineta, and that place is our meeting point. We will all meet in that place to be able to leave our homes forever. We will be safe forever, but we will do one thing: start with our own opportunities to forge our paths without one woman, a villain or a heroine tells us what to do. Haminari. And how do you plan to do such a thing? We do not have anything. Izuku. Believe in me as I believe in you and let's meet in that place. At that time, only bring what is necessary. The boys looked at each other until they showed a smile to see Izuku, and one by one he extended his arm with a fist in the air. Todoroki. Count me in. Bakugo. With me too. Kirishima. I won't leave you, Izu bro. Haminari. I don't have better things to do. Shoji. You're going to need help. Ajiro. A friend does not abandon his own. Mineta. If you ask for help, count on me. Lita. They are not going to leave me behind, they need someone to put some order. Izuku. Thank you, friends. He extended his arm to bump his fist with that of his friends so that each one could go home to prepare their things. They stayed for a while until night came, and the boys had already prepared all the things they needed. Ajiro, to leave his house, went out of the window, taking advantage of the fact that there was a branch of a tree nearby. Shoji ended up taking a pipe that was going along the wall of his house. Todoroki had to use a ladder to be able to leave his house, since it had very high walls as it was a house like old Japan. Kaminari left through the door of his house carefully. Mineta was going to try something to get out of the window, but ended up falling face down on the floor. Kirishima, directly living in an apartment, went out through some kind of stairs that they passed by her window. Lita directly had to jump over the fence of her house while Bakugo. I'm leaving. Mitsuki. Okay. That way she walked out the door as if nothing had happened while Izuku was walking to the door of his house. Inko. Where are you going, boy? Izuku. It's not very obvious. I'm leaving this house. I can't stand them anymore, their tortures, which are very boring. Inko. You're not going anywhere, young man. Izuku. Really? Look at me. Izuku left the house, starting to run, being followed by Inko, but the boy was more astute, remembering an alley that he took to see that there was a wall in which there was a hole through which Izuku was going to be able to pass, so he took the opportunity to take the opportunity. Passing through that part and leaving his mother. Inko. Izuku is back right now. Izuku just looked at the wall with a smile, so he ran away from the place. He stayed that way until he arrived at the abandoned trains and found the rest of his friends. Izuku. We're all fine. Lita. And what do we have to do? Izuku. Just follow me. Before they took a step they heard a woman's voice. Woman. How about children? And today the boss all for one asked some children for some things called nomas. Izuku. Run. The 9 began to run in order to save themselves, while the woman, who turned out to be a villain, followed them from behind in order to catch them. They ran as much as they could until they reached a part where they had no exit. They turned around to take another path, but the villainess had already surrounded them. Villain. They're mine. Izuku, being the good leader of his group, stood in front of his friends. Izuku. I won't let you touch them. Villain. And what are you going to do? The villain showed an evil smile, so that Izuku went against her to make a fist. The villain was confident, so she lowered her guard to receive the blow, but she did not wait for fire to come out of Izuku's fist to hit him in the stomach, commanding she hits a train only for a piece of metal to break and fall on her head, leaving her unconscious. Izuku. What happened? The boy looked at his hand, which was emitting smoke, until the smoke went away. Izuku. Let's all get out of here. The boys ran to the forest where they entered to be calm, even though they were walking for a few hours. Lita. Izuku, what was that? Kirishima. You just used a quirk. Izuku. To be honest, I don't even know what just happened, but that doesn't matter now. But what's coming? They walked to the chasm of a mountain where they saw a stone in which Izuku took out a paper on which he pressed as if the stone had a code so that they could see how a hatch opened through which they entered, so that they could see a place where the lights turned on. Alone revealed a kind of place where they could live for their entire lives. Bakugo. How did you get this? Izuku. My father left it to me before he died, and well, now we are here. Haminari. This place is perfect to start everything. Izuku. And so it will be, but we need something. Shoji. What? Izuku. We need more people. We are going to be recruiting more people to be able to do everything. Todoroki. What are we going to call this place? Haminari. Union. Ajiro. For good. Bakugo. Everyone. Todoroki. UPT. Izuku. Sounds good to me, we'll use it to do everything. The boys looked at each other while having a smile. Chapter 2. After the group of friends decided to change many things about their society to end up in a part of the place where they were going to make the base, apart from the fact that Izuku awakened a quirk, something that was impossible for a man, years passed, and in these moments the base that was called UPT, unlike before, was now with many people being only men in the place, and not only that, since when the base was created little by little, they began to make a revolt of people being the men. At this moment with car was driving through the forest. Man. Sir, we are about to enter. Man too. Are you sure? Man. Not really, I don't even want to go in. When he said that, he went straight to a stone that ended up opening for the car to enter and closed, showing that it was just a hiding place. Inside it was a whole base more than ready for a war, but the most important thing was inside an office in which Izuku was sitting, but Bakugo entered through the door. Izuku. Did something happen, Bakugo? Bakugo. I found out that a large group of men are going to go to the front of the presidency to start a revolt, but I don't think they are ready to at least get your attention. Izuku. Then send them some support so that they have a little attention. Bakugo. Then I send the typical group. Izuku. Yes, and when the revolt ends, let them distribute the papers. Bakugo. Okay. The boy left the office to dial a phone number and call someone. Bajiro. Yes, Bakugo. Bakugo. A revolt at the head of the presidency in 2 hours. I want you to go with Kaminari. Bajiro. Okay. That way he hung up the call while passing by a place where Kirishima, Shoji and one other boy could be seen training the men in hand-to-hand fights. At one point the blonde boy went to Izuku's office. Boy. Can I come in? Izuku. Yes, you know that you will always be welcomed, Mirio. Mirio was the first recruited by Izuku, an expert in hand-to-hand combat and with firearms at long, medium and short distances. Mirio. I would like to talk about what if you are so confident with the movements. Izuku. Yes, soon we will be known throughout the world and that way we will hopefully get everything we want. Mirio. Okay. Izuku. If you let me, I have some somewhat important things to do outside the base. In another part, all the people of the place were in front of the presidency, making a riot everywhere, which Ejiro and Kaminari got into walking through the crowd. Throughout the crowd the men had signs wanting equal rights in society. Apart from the fact that the sign said UBT being noticed by all women. Ejiro. We need to do something. Kaminari. A little help. In that case, since the women had shields, they ended up seeing how Kaminari stood in front with a mask. Kaminari. What's wrong? We have to claim our rights, but not this way, we will never achieve anything. The man looked at Kaminari evilly, while the women looked with notable arrogance. Kaminari. We have to do this. Kaminari and Ejiro jumped off the shields, managing to break the women's defense a little, so that the men did the same, so that they began to pass between the women making enormous chaos, while in another part, Izuku was sitting in a food place being a cafeteria having 2 cups of coffee, as if he was waiting for someone, until a blue-haired man sat in front of him, Lita, to the taste of Izuku, who left some papers. Lita had a dark blue suit with a white shirt and a blue tie, while Izuku alone, he had a green short-sleeved shirt with a black sports jacket, dark green shoes and pants. Izuku. Hello friends, I haven't seen you in a long time. Lita. If I say the same thing, I leave you some income for the company. I also have to warn you about some things. Izuku. Tell me what you want. Lita. For 3 months, Japan's security was reinforced by the men who showed things from the UBT. They start to take it seriously. Izuku. Well, anything else? Lita. Yes, apparently the UA is taking the reports to see the entrance tests for the next students, and they want my company to be the ones to make the next suits for the next 3 years, so we will have a report on all the girls and their quirks. Izuku. Sounds good to me, we will have more advantage in everything at this rate. Lita. I have to go, the company has to be faster than you think. They showed us the names of all the possible admission students, so we have to look for their quirks and work apart from how they will want it. And one more thing. Take care, don't let anyone find out the secret. Izuku. Do I have to remind you who is the leader of all this? Lita. No, but sometimes, we are never sure. Lita left the place while Izuku alone was calm until a girl who from her clothes it was more than obvious that she did not want to be seen since she hid almost her entire face from her. Waitress. Do you need something? Girl. Yes, a coffee with a half moon would be good. The waitress went to place the order, but out of nowhere a blonde boy came in and a blonde girl came in looking with their eyes until they saw the girl, so they approached. Boy. What do you think you're doing in a place like this? Girl. That's right Momo, I remind you that you still have to choose between him or me. The girl took off what she had on her head showing raven hair that was in a ponytail. Momo. Ren, Nami are my best friends, but they don't need to declare their love for me and keep insisting on me everywhere just for me to tell them the same thing that I don't love either of them. It would be better if we stopped seeing each other. Izuku was about to leave because he paid the bill, but he decided to stay a little. Ren. I don't care, I love you and I want you to say yes. Nami. No, she has to love me. The two of them grabbed Momo in a very strong way that hurt the black girl a little. Momo. Let go of me, you're hurting me. Ren. If necessary, as long as you love me. Out of nowhere they let her go while Izuku stood in the middle with a smile. Izuku. Wait a moment, respect things a little and if she says nicely to let her go, you have to let her go. Ren. And who the hell are you? Izuku. I apologize for not being very kind for introducing myself first. I am Izuku, someone who was about to leave, but I heard a little about the problem I got into, and you don't need to tell me your names, I listened to them. Nami? You better go boy. Izuku? Well, first of all that was very negative, something not very kind, and let's say I'm not sorry, I don't like violence, and what they were about to do was going to be very violent. Ran. Maybe you want me to hit you. Izuku? That's not a good idea, we're in a separate public place, I just want them to leave the girl alone. Nami? Do you do this very often? Izuku? Yes. Izuku, seeing some heroines, attracted them by launching a small stream of air that was going to hit their necks, just enough to attract his attention, making them look at the place, so that they began walking to the place. Ran. Too bad you don't like violence. The boy hit Izuku, knocking him to the ground, causing the heroines to jump in to stop them. Heroine? What do you think you're doing? Nami? We didn't do anything when it started. Momo? To be more honest, they came to hurt me, he came and politely asked them to leave, but they ended up hitting him. Heroine? Then you two will come with us. The women took the two away while Momo knelt down helping Izuku get up. Momo? Are you okay? Izuku? Yes, I received worse hits in my life. Momo? You didn't need to get involved. Izuku? What do I tell you? I am someone who doesn't like to cause problems, but when someone is bothered I can't help but intervene to stop it. Momo? Let me buy you a cup of coffee. Izuku? No need, I was leaving anyway. Momo? Come on, it's the least I can do to help myself. The girl showed a pleading face so Izuku only paid attention to stay in place. Izuku? And why did they follow you? Momo? They were my best friends, but one day they told me that they loved me, I rejected them, and since then I was bothering them for days, even months. Izuku? Typical problem in which someone believes they can take whatever they want, especially women, without offending. Momo? It's okay, it's normal for you to think that. They were talking until they saw on a TV in the cafeteria how the news showed the revolt that became chaos, and now everyone was escaping because of the heroines who were beating them out. Momo? It's a shame. Izuku? What? Momo? For all those people, I don't see the bad side of asking for the same rights, practically the only difference is that women have a quirk and men have it all. Izuku? They are just people who want to be equal, if they fight they do it for something, men if we fight it is for a cause or reason. Momo? And don't tell me you're a pacifist and you don't fight. Izuku? In fact, when they attack me, that's when my pacifism goes away and I answer in the same way, except that those heroines arrived on time. Momo? I believe you, you were going to grow wings and burn them. Izuku? Or I would have answered with a low blow, and that's it. Momo? I forgot, I'm Momo Yaoirozu. Izuku? Yes, I heard your name, I'm Izuku, just Izuku. Momo? Don't you have a family or something? Izuku? It's not that, I just want to get as far away as possible from my family, I don't like it very much. Momo? Why? Izuku? When in a family of 3 you are the only man, it is not so good, they hate men, and what can I say? Blow after blow, abuse after abuse, my childhood was not so good if you can call it that way. Momo? I don't like those types of people who end up mistreating others just for being a boy. Izuku? And what do you want to do? It is the world we live in, but I always remember some words that help me become stronger and help other people. Momo? Which ones? Izuku? Always remember that there are people who go through worse things than you, those words are more than enough for me, they are more than enough for me to know that there are people who suffer more than me, so I must help them even if it costs me my life. I will help whoever, I don't care how or when, I will help them. Momo? Those words are very good for a hero. Izuku? But many people think that heroes don't exist, but heroines do. Momo? And what do those words mean to you? Izuku? Those words are for people who risk their lives for others, they don't abandon anyone, and if necessary they will sacrifice themselves in order to keep everyone safe, it doesn't matter if everyone hates you in order to keep them safe. Momo? Those are good words. The two spent a while talking until it was too late. Momo? I have to go. Izuku? Well, I also have some things to do and I can't take too long so to speak. Momo? Do you work? Izuku? Something like that, when you're with friends things get a little easier. Momo? If you want one of these days. Izuku? We met up so we could talk a little more, yes, here's my number. She gives him a piece of paper with her number while she left the place, leaving Momo happy to meet Izuku, while the green-haired man calmly walked to a part where he took a car to drive until he reached the base. Chapter 3. After the group had made many advances over the years apart from having more people in the place and Izuku met Momo, a few days had actually passed in which Izuku went to his base directly to the office, even though he had a mask to prevent anyone from seeing his face. Izuku was in his office calmly looking at some things in his database until he received a message being some files, so Izuku just looked at the files while they were talking at an academy. Nisa. Apparently the presidency sent us a statement. Femnezu and director of the UA. Aiza. What did he send us? Femizawa and teacher. Nisa. With this topic of the UPT. We have to be more careful for our students, so we made some dormitories for all the girls. 13. So what is so important about that group? Midnight. It's true, if I go alone I'll put them all to sleep and that's it. Nisa. Well apparently we don't have much information about this group, but we do know that they are dangerous because they were able to knock out some heroines, and we believe that they are only men since they recruit men. Aiza. Then we send a spy and that's it. Nisa. I'm going to get ahead of that and send a girl to infiltrate that group, as long as they don't catch her, it's better, but changing the subject, all girl, your successor is coming to the UA. All girl. Yes, he is someone to trust. Fem All Might and new teacher. Aiza. Let's just hope this girl is a little worth it. Elsewhere in the base Izuku had already finished looking at the files, so he became serious, and Todoroki just entered the office noticing Izuku's serious look. Todoroki. Is something wrong? Izuku. Yes, I need you to have a meeting. Todoroki. Okay. An alarm sounded in different parts of the base, drawing everyone's attention, but someone who had just arrived heard this with doubt, so he approached a man. Boy. Excuse me, my name is Ryu and I'm new in this place, if not it's too much trouble, can you explain to me what that noise is? Man. It is when the meeting of the 10 pillars takes place. Ryu. What are the 10 pillars? Man. The 10 pillars are the ones who maintain this whole place, they are 10 people who are in charge of everything, and when a meeting of these is held it is for something very serious apart, each of them has an important or at least important part in this base. Ryu. And who are they or what are they like? Man. Easy, the main ones who are the inferior ones, a total of 7 of them wear a mask that covers the entire front part, only revealing the back part, demonstrating their hair color only. The 2 that are in a higher hierarchy have masks that they cover his entire head, but he has a symbol on his forehead, showing that it is more than understood that they are the highest commands of the hierarchy, and the last one has a mask that covers his entire head, but unlike the others, this one has a drawing of a skull. They saw how 4 of them passed by and went directly to a direction, they ran until they reached a black room that was illuminated by a light from the ceiling, and there was a table which is made of blue glass. Izuku. Everyone take a seat and take off your masks. The 9 did as requested, revealing the group of 9 friends apart from Mirio. Mirio, an expert in fighting with firearms, Kirishima, an expert in hand-to-hand fighting, Shoji, an expert in fighting with knives, the 3 of them always train everyone so that they learn to handle themselves against someone with or without a quirk, Kaminari, a computer scientist in charge of providing information to the base when necessary, being through the internet parties among other things, Ejiro in charge of informing when there are riots or recruiting people, Financial Lita who maintains the facade that she works making costumes for the heroines in her company being a small economic support to the base. Mineta the least important in part since he is the cook of the base, apart from being the one who fixes the kitchen since when he started having more people in the kitchen. Todoroki and Bakugo right and left hands of the leader being a figure very important when the leader is not the second in command, sharing the position of leader and Izuku the leader of the base in charge of seeing and ensuring everyone. Kirishima. Why this meeting? Izuku. A while ago my 2 spy contacts passed me some very important files. Kaminari. At least can we know who your informants are? Bakugo. Not even we know who they are. Izuku. It's not time for you to meet them yet. Todoroki. The most important thing, what did those files have? Izuku. 1 infiltrated the UA, and I pass on information about her students to future heroines, although we know some of them. Some photos with the girls were shown on the table apart from their quirk from class 1A. Izumi Quirk breathes fire from his mouth. Hiro Quirk hacks his ears allowing him to hear what's going on around him or harm him with them. Uraraka Quirk zero gravity allows her to pull gravity out of everything she touches. Izami Quirk allows him to toughen the skin. Kiri Quirk allows him to make electricity. Shota Quirk allows him to generate fire from his body. Asumi Quirk allows her to make explosions. Momo Quirk allows you to create things from your body fluids. Melissa Quirk allows you to increase the capabilities of her body to deliver strong blows. Sayo Quirk allows him to have abilities of a frog. Thor Quirk is invisible. Mina Quirk can throw acid. Hendo Quirk can increase the size of your hands. Monoma Quirk can copy any quirk by touching the person. Fem Monoma. The Bara Quirk allows him to use her hair to attack. Yui Quirk can make me very small and return to her normal size. Tisa Quirk hardening her skin to metal. Femtetsu. Ryuko Quirk can make a ghost. Amy Quirk allows her to make illusions to fool people. May Quirk can build experiments at great speed without saying that, making improvements to them. Mirio. This is all very good. Haminari. Then we have to be careful with some of them. Bakugo. Or we get revenge. Mirio. Do you know them? Izuku. Some, since they were sisters and friends of our sisters. I met Momo by chance a few days ago. Shoji. What about the other informant? Izuku. My other informant was able to get into the League of Villains, and apparently they are planning to attack the UA. But since his plan is not complete, it will take time. Mineta. And what do you want us to do? Izuku. That moment when they attack the UA, I am more than sure that they are going to attack when they can't find more than 2 teachers at most. Lita. Why not more than 2 teachers? Izuku. Because at UA. Now there is all girl as a teacher, and the attack will not be very easy then. It is most likely that they want to kill the symbol of peace. Haminari. And what does that have to do with us? Izuku. When they attack it will be time to demonstrate our power. Todoroki. Wait, you're not planning on using your quirk? Izuku's quirk consists of being able to use different elements in her body, being fire, air, earth, water and electricity for some reason. Izuku. No, I'm not going to use them. Mineta. So how are you going to fight? Or do you not plan to fight? Izuku. I was able to make an armor that I can fight with. The armor is very powerful so I can fight. The only bad thing is that I only have 1 armor. Todoroki. In the event that something happens like a villain who is stronger than normal, you will be in charge of fighting her. Izuku. If we don't have many options I'll have to fight. Many options I won't have to go against a single villain. Lita. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about? Izuku. That's not all. I just want you to be ready for that day. We have to show the strength that all of us have. Izuku extended his fist for the others to do the same, high-fiving each other. Izuku. Well, the meeting is over, let's go. Everyone left the room so that each one could return with their part of the organization, while with Ryu, he had already understood that the security was so advanced that not even a girl with a quirk to be able to transform into another person could circumvent the enormous security that the organization had. Base once he registered as a specific man. Ryu. And what is each pillar? He said it as the 10 people nicknamed pillars left the room. Man. The dwarf is pillar 10, he is in charge of the kitchen, he is the head of the kitchen. One of the blondes who goes to the training room is pillar 9, the one with white hair is pillar 8, they are in charge of training everyone. Here, the blonde-haired one who is missing is pillar 7, the last blonde you see walking outside is pillar 6, he is in charge of the recruits, the red-haired one is pillar 5, who is in charge of training, although he is more experienced than the others. 2. The blue-haired man is pillar 4, it is rare to see him in this place, since almost never anyone is there, no one knows what their part of the organizations is. The 2 that you see with the masks with those symbols are pillars 3 and 2 in the absence of the leader, the 2 of them must share command together, and the last one is pillar 1, he is the leader. It goes without saying that he stays in his office all the time only having permission to pass the other pillars, their masks have something that distorts their voices. Ryu. I see. Man. Well, we have to go eat. They went to a part where the dining room was so they could see how all the men ate calmly without any kind of problems, apart from making a few jokes and having a good atmosphere. Man. What's wrong, Ryu? A good environment, isn't it? Ryu. Yes, a good environment. Man. If you already like the place, you like the chef's cooking. They went to the part to eat while in another part Izuku had called Todoroki and Bakugo, making them go to what was a place in the forest where there was nothing around. Bakugo. Why did you call us Izuku? Izuku. I called them to see the armor. Todoroki. Where is he? Izuku showed that he had a kind of triangle that he pressed so that a red armor began to appear all over his body, being that of Iron Man from Infinity War. Bakugo. Is that the armor? Todoroki. What's so special about it? Izuku. The question wasn't necessary, but since they asked it, the boy began to fly around the place, lasting through the sky for a few moments until he came down, so that from the palms of his hands, he could launch some rays of energy hitting a tree. Apart from showing some missiles, another thing he could show was that his armor could do some things like regenerate parts, make a shield and a sword apart from being able to absorb energy. Bakugo. How did you do that? Izuku. The armor was not very easy to make, the person who made it took years to make it, so his armors will take time to make, but rest assured that they will have them. The armor will be made with nanotechnology, which allows him to rebuild parts of the armor that are damaged or give something to you, and for greater benefit, you can make it small enough to carry it everywhere. Bakugo. Then I want an armor that is like me. Todoroki. Make explosions. Izuku. And that's why Todoroki's will be made of ice and fire, it will be able to resist both things apart from absorbing them, while Bakugo's will be able to do the same, but with the explosions. Bakugo. Without a doubt I will be able to do great things now. Izuku. Not now, when you have it. Izuku took off his armor so they could put on their masks and return to the base so they could be well again while somewhere else. Nisa. I have an idea. Old girl. Which one? Nisa. How about we send them a statement so we can talk to them, meet somewhere and talk. Old girl. Sounds good, I'm going to send reports everywhere for them to come. Nisa. Yes, it's a good idea. That way they started planning to be able to talk to them. Chapter 4. After Izuku has planned things with his group about the UA students. Apart from the attack that the League of Villains was going to make to the UA. And the armor that Izuku showed Todoroki and Bakugo, the days passed in which the boys were making more of their plans apart from the things they were going to need such as vehicles, weapons that did not have bullets that would kill among other things. And currently at the base Izuku was talking with some members of the group about the most important things they will need. Hiroshima. What are we going to need, Izuku? Todoroki. More importantly, where are they going to attack and when? Izuku. Apparently they plan to attack the USJ where Class 1 is going to be, it is a training building. Kaminari, you can continue with the explanation. Kaminari. Yes, it turns out that this building is used to make programs to be able to have natural accidents such as a storm, a fire, the sea in a not very good state, earthquakes, things like that. Shoji. It's a very big place, too big for a small group to attack. Todoroki. From what you can see, the place to be able to enter would be by destroying a part or that a villain has a quirk to be able to teleport herself and the other villains that she will leave in different parts of the place. Bakugo. Assuming that the class will be at the exit, they will send them to different parts of the place to take more control of the situation and achieve their crazy things that they plan, such as killing all girl. Shoji. Without saying that a villain is surely going to be in charge of setting off the alarms once they enter the place, one that has electricity. Izuku. Then we have to be fast, precise because once we enter and take care of the villain's problem with electricity and finish this to leave, since the heroines will not take long to arrive and it would be very bad if they caught us. Bakugo. From what I see of the place, they have to take at least 110 villains that we are going to meet, but we can take a quantity of 30 men to be able to do things faster and helping the girls leave the place. Izuku. Can you make them less of a person? Todoroki. Yes. Izuku. So I want you to take care of it, now I want to hear a plan because we know how to get in, but I want to know how to escape. Ajiro. If we take some cars and go at high speed we can escape. Izuku. But for a short time, almost all the heroines who are in the place are going to move by land, and that is a huge disadvantage for us, they will not take long to catch us, and I do not plan to face a number that does not we can calculate heroines. Hiroshima. And if we have one of our planes waiting for us at the airport ready to take off. Izuku. And how do you plan to get there? I remind you that there are very few streets that we can take, but the most important issue is that if they catch us on one of those streets, it will be the end of everything we have done until now. At the UA. The girls were talking to each other about one more than another trivial topic until an idea occurred to them. Mina. How about after shopping at the mall? Uraraka. If we go in total I have nothing to do at the moment. Sai. But what will we do? Jiru. See where we can buy some things for music. Asumi. Something to hit him with. Izumi. Maybe go to the movies. Hendo. Better the one in the cinema. Mina. What do you think if we choose clothes? Babara. For what? Mina. What else for? With clothes we are going to look better apart from perhaps attracting the gaze of one more than another boy. Yui. For that we need a boy to tell us about the clothes we are going to choose and we can't call any boy we find out there and say, what do you think if you see us trying on clothes? Toru. She's right, look if we end up with a separate pervert, maybe we can choose him to carry the bags. Ryuko. More importantly, does anyone have a friend to do that? The girls remained silent since none of them had a friend until a certain raven girl remembered a green-haired man. Momo. I have a friend who can help us with this problem, I met him in a cafeteria, he helped me with 2 stalkers and he is not perverted at all. Uraraka. Then call it, it's the best we can choose now. That way Momo started dialing Izuku's number while the green-haired man was with her friends watching the plans until she received a call from Momo that she had to answer. Izuku. Hello Momo, is something wrong? Momo. Nothing important or at least I think you would think that's because I want to ask you a favor. Izuku. Which one? Momo. I just wanted to know if you can come to the mall, I'll need your help. Izuku. Okay, when do I? Momo. Today if there are no problems in 2 hours. Izuku. Well I'll be there. The boy hung up the call. Mina. And what did he say? Momo. He said yes, he's going. Uraraka. You look very happy now and when you were talking to him, you were very nervous. Are you in love with him? Momo. No, I only saw him once. Heimi. Whatever, let's go. At the base when Izuku hung up the call he turned to see his group but they themselves had a mischievous face. Izuku. Now what's wrong with you? Ajiro. You already have a girlfriend. Izuku. Of course not. Shoji. So you're in love with her. Izuku. I'm not in love either. Mineta. Then why were you going to be with them in 2 hours and leave all this that is most important? Izuku. I'm just going to do it, I have to clear my mind. Boys. Izuku and Momo sitting in a tree. Izuku. I'm not going to follow this little children's game, but if they continue, they're going to have a bad time. The boys didn't stop so they continued to bother. Izuku. Well, don't say I told you that. He put on the mask to leave the room, but before he locked the door, he threw a grenade inside to close the door and leave. Well, the boys began to hold their breath because the grenade was a gas grenade, so they had to hold it in. Izuku left the base while the girls had already arrived at the door of the shopping center. Mina. Where is that boy? Momo. We have to wait as soon as we arrive. Izumi. Apart from the fact that men don't have a quirk, they lack punctuality. At one point someone arrived on a motorcycle that was blue on the front and black on the seat. When he arrived, he was close to the girls, who looked at him just so they could notice a head of green hair that some of them recognized immediately while they blushed, as did the others who didn't know him, but Momo went to hug him. Momo. It's great that you came, Izuku. Izuku. If I came because you asked me, tell me now what the favor is about. Momo. Nothing special, it's that the girls came to the mall and we needed a boy to help us choose clothes with his opinion. Izuku. And I imagine that none of them have an acquaintance who is a man. Momo. I'm afraid not. Izuku. Well, I'm going to help you anyway, I don't have anything better to do. Momo. Girls, this is Izuku, the boy I mentioned to you. Izuku. Hello, a pleasure to meet you. Izuku had a muscular figure with a dark blue sports jacket, the two items of clothing, while his pants were lighter blue jeans and white shoes with black stripes. Momo. These are Yui, Kendo, Ibara, Ryuko, Mina, Mei, Toru, Sayu, Kami, Tisa, Melissa, Manama. Izuku. You don't need the rest, or do you? Kasumi, Izumi, Shota, Kazami, Kiri, Uraraka, Jiru. Momo. Do you know each other? Izumi. Partly. Izuku. By the way, his brothers send their regards. Shota. Do you know where Todoroki is? I have to talk to him. Izuku. But he doesn't want to talk to you, he believes that it's not for nothing that we got as far away from you as we could. Kasumi. Remember Deku, you are still mine, you have to marry me and give me children. Uraraka. Don't forget that I do too. Izuku just ignored them as if they were nothing. Izuku. Well, let's start with this day, there are many things to do. Kendo. How many things to do? Izuku. Well, of course yes, from a distance I notice that you are a little martial arts warrior, I imagine. Kendo. Yes, you hit the mark. Izuku. Then we have to go for some clothes that make you look calm, who inspires art itself and great strength. Momo only got a little jealous being noticed by Izuku. Izuku. Momo, don't think that because I meet your friends I will immediately forget about you, you need clothes that inspire elegance, beauty, creation of the earth, after all, it is your interior. The Raven girl blushed a little so they entered to start walking through the shopping center. Mei. Hey Momo, is Izuku really not your boyfriend? Momo. It's not the truth. Mei. How lucky. Momo. Why? Mina. Because then we can claim Izuku and keep him since he's not yours after all. Momo. But Izuku is not an object. Sayu. If Izuku wants to be with someone then he will be the one who decides who to be with. Kasumi. Don't forget that Deku is mine only. Izuku. What are you girls talking about? I swear I could hear my name. Shota. It's nothing, we were just talking about how they met. Izuku. So it was a good thing. Izumi. Hey Izuku, what do you do for a living? Izuku. Does that matter? Izumi. Well. Before she could speak she was interrupted by Izuku. Izuku. Look, a place where you can try on clothes, come on. The girls only came in so they could start trying on the clothes and being seen by Izuku, who owed them his opinion on the matter, while he advised them on one more item than another that they could wear until at one point, the girls were changing at the same time until they left. Momo. What do you think Kaizu? Mina. Where is he? Kendo. Look over there. The girls watched as another group of girls had Izuku, as one could make a kind of whip that she used to tie Izuku's entire body. Izuku. I already told you that I don't want to go with you, I'm with another group. Girl 1. I don't care, look, you are something that is not wasted and you will come with us. Izuku. I can't. He was silenced by having tape over his mouth that they put so that the girls at UA. They changed in less than a second so that they left the store seeing how they dragged Izuku, who at this got a little angry, so he began to exert force, managing to break the whips to the surprise of everyone, and slowly got up and took off his tape. Izuku. I told you that I don't want to go with you. Immediately the girls went to where Izuku was surrounding him. Girl 1. What do you think they're doing? Kendo. I'm sorry but he's coming with us. Girl 2. We don't care, we saw him alone, and now he is ours. Momo. If he doesn't want to go with you, he won't go. The two groups looked at each other seriously because of the green-haired boy who was just being protected by the group of girls until the other group left. Ryuko. That's good, there was no fight. Asumi. If it had happened, I was going to show them what happens when they mess with mine. Izuku. Thank you very much for protecting me, but can we continue shopping? The girls nodded to continue shopping, and they were not going to deny that they liked Izuku's presence with them. They were walking for a while, until Izuku saw how the same group of girls were bothering some small children until two of them, one who could throwing fire from their fingers and another that made sparks, they launched those attacks, if you can call it that way, against the children. But before they reached them, Izuku ended up in front of the children with his arms crossed, receiving the damage being noticed by Class 1A. Izuku held on as long as he could until they stopped attacking, showing that the sleeves from the shoulders to the wrists were gone, while a little blood and smoke came out of Izuku's arms. Girl 3. How stupid you were to do that. Izuku looked at them angrily, making their eyes turn red for a second and turn green again, making them end up scared. Izuku. They are damned for attacking simple children who did nothing to them. It didn't take long for Class 1A to stand in front of Izuku and the children in a protective manner, causing the group of girls to leave the place, so Izuku looked with a smile at the children who were a little scared by what was happening. He knelt down to her height with a smile. Izuku. Are you okay? Child. Yes, thank you. Izuku. It's okay, you don't have to thank me for anything, I did what anyone would do. The children left as did the class. Izumi. You didn't change anything, you're still doing the same stupid thing. Izuku. And I still don't care about anything. When they finished shopping, everyone went home, although Izuku went to the base, entering that room that left a grenade. Izuku. Have you already made a plan? Hiroshima. Yes. Bakugo. The next time you leave one of those grenades, I swear I'm going to kill you. Izuku. What's the plan? Haminari. We escape with the cars, but instead of going down the street we go through the forest, and when we are near the airport we break the security fence, and the plane will be waiting for us and ready to leave the place. Izuku. Good plan. Todoroki. Wait, you already thought of this plan. Izuku. Yes. Hiroshima. And you didn't tell us anything. Izuku. If one of these days I end up out of all this because something happened to me, I need you to think better than me or the same. The boy left while the boys restrained themselves from taking a gun and shooting their leader. Chapter 5. After they made a plan to go to the USJ and get out of it without any problem apart from the fact that Izuku had to go to the mall to help choose clothes, even if it means meeting his ex-sister apart from his group of friends, at this moment they were thinking about how to talk to the girls. Heroines being something quite dangerous to go for the heroines that can be found. Todoroki. We have to think of a way to talk to them. Bakugo. But how? We can't just go like that and say hey hello, how are you doing? Do you want something to eat? Izuku. They are more than desperate to talk to us, instead of making us go to where they are, it would be better for them to come to where we are. Todoroki. And how do you want to do that? Izuku. Easy, we send them a letter where we want to see them and if they come it is obviously for their reason. Bakugo. It seems like a good idea and I imagine that we will be covering the area everywhere since they enter. Todoroki. And are you sure it's going to work? Izuku. Yes, I'm more than sure. Izuku sent the letter so he could wait for a response, so in a part where the heroines were, they received the letter for a heroine to take. Kiga. Hey, we have a letter and it says it's very important. Femkigo. Mirko. Then read the dove. Kiga. Supposedly this is from the UBT of the leader, he wants us to meet in a position where he left us with a map on the letter within an hour, but if we don't arrive they won't be in the place any longer. Old girl. So let's go, the four best, Mirko, Taiga, and Devora the heroine and Devora, a female sister of Rei Todoroki, with the ability to make fire like Shota and me. And Devora. Are you sure? Mirko. Since it won't be, we are the four best against a group. Taiga. Then let's go. Old girl. And remember we are going to talk not fight. The four women went to the place carrying a camera so that they could be seen on the news, so that they entered through a forest seeing everything around them until they saw a guy with a black cape and a black mask that had a skull, while another two guys dressed like him, but they had a symbol instead of a skull, and another seven behind them that had the same mask clothing that covered their entire heads. Although Todoroki resisted the urge not to attack his aunt who helped his sister burn her face. Old girl. Hello. Izuku. Take a seat and you don't need to hide that camera. The women saw a table that was there with some chairs, so they sat down and showed the camera. Old girl. We came to just talk. Izuku. If I know otherwise they wouldn't have come, we know they are desperate to know who we are. Why do we do it? Among other things. Old girl. Yes, we want to talk about the issue of the riots. Izuku. Did they just come for that? Old girl. No, we want to know everything. Izuku. To start, let me tell you a little about our story. We were very happy young friends, but the same thing always happened. Our families mistreated us, society mistreated us, all the women hurt us men and everything for not having a quirk. So we decided to create UBT Union Bien Todos. It is for the good of everyone, but obviously we only want the same rights as women. And Devora. But the rights they have are more than enough. Izuku. You have the right to choose who to be with, we don't. You have the right to be first in everything, we don't. You have the right to choose a man to marry, as if we were pure objects, and we weren't. How fair is that? Old girl. So if we accept that they have the same rights as us, they will stop the riots and everything. Izuku. Yes, but obviously we want them to stop putting themselves up for men all the time, stop treating us like worthless trash, but most importantly be heroes. Old girl. What are you talking about? Izuku. Thousands of children are born with a desire to be a hero, but you don't take away that desire, you don't take away our dreams with a snap, as if it were nothing. Tell me old girl, what is your dream? Old girl. It's keeping everyone safe. Izuku. Well, that's what inspires you to be able to get up every day and fight evil, but what would happen if one day out of nowhere that disappeared? Everything is chaos, you cannot save everyone, well you save someone others die, your dream is no longer fulfilled, it becomes a nightmare due to which thousands of children, adolescents, men suffer daily more than abuse, and are unhappy. Old girl. I understand your point, but we can't let just anyone be a hero. Izuku. Look, this is the last time I make you the offer, accept our offer until the part about being able to be heroes, or else we will continue with our thing. And Devora. Do you think you can threaten us like it's nothing? Izuku made a sign with his hand making one being the one on the right understand. Bakugo. Guys. As he said that, through the trees, grass, and river, some men with weapons came out, a huge number of men with weapons pointing at the heroines, who looked everywhere, being surprised at what they had just done. Urko. Are they threatening us? Izuku. Why did you think we wanted you to meet here? We weren't going to go to a place where you have control and can do whatever you want, we are not stupid. Higa. Then they would kill us to do their thing. Izuku. The bullets in the weapons are not designed to kill. In my organization, no man trains to kill. We work with the simple fact of being able to keep the situation calm. Even if one of these men hates them with all his being and has the perfect opportunity to kill them, he will not do it because he is well trained, unlike you who can get lost in your emotions quite easily. Izuku stood up from the chair. Izuku. Well, it was a pleasure to have face to face, but we have to go. The boy passes a jar to old girl who takes it. Old girl. And what is this? Izuku. I know that no one likes to see their greatest protector weak, so my doctors made a formula for them to recover and partly see that we are not the bad guys in this place. Old girl. But how do you know? Izuku. Easy woman, I have ears and at the same time I have people who tell me everything I need to know. The 10 left the place without leaving any trace, to the surprise of those watching the news, although the men were happy that there was one who at least wanted a good place for all the men with the same amount of rights as for the women. Women, the 4 heroines turned off the camera. And Devora. Quickly take some of them. When they went against the armed men they saw that they were only holograms, understanding that they had just been deceived, and they saw the faces of all of them. Urko. Damn, they tricked us, they were smarter than us. Higa. But we'll be smarter the next time we meet, won't we all girl? The blonde just looked at where they all went, thinking how she found out about his weakness. Old girl. Yes, we will be smarter. That way they left the place while at the base Naruto was in the medical part being seen by his only Dr. Todoroki being responsible for the medical part while Bakugo was in charge of the weapons. Izuku. And what do I have, Todoroki? She said it while he got up from the stretcher in the side of Todoroki who was only a little surprised. Todoroki. It seems that your quirk has been changing over the years. Izuku. How has it been changing? Todoroki. Yes, it seems that your blood changed, you are literally unique now, your sister and mother are no longer unique since they do not have the same blood type. Izuku. So what am I? Todoroki. It's as if with your blood you can awaken other people's quirk, but I'm not very sure, I have to continue investigating. Years ago you awakened this quirk, but yet we haven't found a logical explanation for how you did it. Are you sure I'm not missing something? Detail to tell us. Izuku. Yes, I'm sure, I already told you, I saw that the villain was going to hurt them, so I went in front just to wake them up. Todoroki. Well, I think his blood was changing without us realizing until now that it is beginning to represent bigger changes than normal. Izuku. So you're telling me that the biggest changes in my body are coming now? That's not the case. Todoroki. Just as you said, the most notable changes come now. Izuku. What kind of changes am I going to present? Todoroki. Apparently changes like your eyes are going to become blood red, your green hair is going to change from a light green or a darker one, your physique is going to change since from what I see your body is developing a more complex system. Resistant to damage and weather apart from possible increase in strength and speed, possibly your power, your quirk is stronger than you yourself think. Izuku. It seems like that, but if that becomes the case I need to train. Todoroki. You can't train in full view of all of us. Izuku. That's why I have an island a little far from here, so I'm going to take a boat and go to the island to train. In total, there's nothing in that place. Todoroki. Okay, just don't try to attract attention from a distance. Izuku. And it will be like that. By the way, is my sword still in its place? Todoroki. You have to ask Bakugo that, you know. Izuku went to where Bakugo was, who was checking the weapons they received. Bakugo. Something's wrong. Izuku. I want to know if the sword is in its place. Bakugo. Obviously yes, why do you want her? Izuku. I have to try something. The boy went to a part where he took a sword which he put on his back so that he would end up doing what he told Todoroki, so he took a boat that was in the sea so that he could start going to the island. When he arrived he just looked the place thinking of a way to train. Izuku. It seems like it won't be easy to do this. The boy would start with a run around the entire island, which was something big, in which a person like a runner for the normal Olympics would take 3 hours to cover the entire island. Izuku ended up taking 1 hour in total to cover the entire island and without use his quirk. After that I try his strength lifting a rock that should have weighed at least a ton, but he was able to lift it easily. After that he wanted to test the resistance of his body by hitting the same rock, showing that his blow left a mark apart from leaving several parts damaged on the rock, so he gave another blow, destroying it even more, breaking it in half to the surprise of Izuku, who could not believe the incredible strength and resistance he just had. Izuku. If I can do this, let's see the sword. The boy went to a part where there was a sword that he took out of his sheath. The boy looked at the sword that he had in his hands so that it made a complete turn, making a cut in a stone, cutting it in half, as if it were paper for the boy. Izuku. A harder than normal steel that can cut anything. The boy brandished his sword while making more than elegant movements, in a way to say making several cuts in the rocks, which did not resist the cut of the sword, which was harder than anything else. Izuku. Let's try something new. The boy looked at his sword so that with one movement lightning bolts would come out in one part. He made another movement so that fire would come out of the sword. One more movement launched a large current of air. A cut to the ground caused the earth to end up rising, making almost a mountain, stopped with one jump and made a cut in the air, causing a stream of water to come out of the sword that worked like a whip that destroyed some rocks. Izuku. Definitely, if I want to be serious in a fight I have to use the sword at all costs. The boy looked at his sword to throw it far away in one movement, causing it to end up against a rock where it stuck. Izuku. Let's try more new things. The boy extended his hands to the sword, trying to do something, so that the sword that was on the rock began to move more and more until it came out of the rock, so that it ended up in Izuku's hand, who got a smile for achieving this act. Izuku. Now this will be much better. The boy put away his sword to return to the boat to go to the base, where he had to tell Bakugo and Todoroki about the progress he had made. Chapter 6. After Izuku's group had finished talking to the heroines, Izuku found out about the changes he was beginning to have in his body, causing him to have to start training. At this moment Izuku was going to the mall for the girls he had. They asked him to go and spend some time with them, wearing the same clothes, although he changed his jacket for another one that was completely green, but the top part was white. Izuku. Hello girls. Hendo. It's good that you arrived. They were already about to start going to the shopping center. Izuku. Well, let's go. The group entered, although when they entered they saw how there were already groups of girls in the shopping center who looked directly at Izuku, so that they began to leave the stalls where they were to start approaching Izuku, who only got a little nervous. Well, the groups got closer and closer, but before they got to where Izuku was to take him to class 1, they ended up surrounding him without leaving them a step to take Izuku. Izuku. Do you need to do this? Amy. If you want to be kidnapped by one of these groups, then you better stay with us. Izuku only stayed silent to stay with the girls walking through the mall, although the girls were attentive, so that no group of other girls approached, and ended up taking the green-haired boy, who only kept a smile, as if he didn't care about anything until he was gone. They stayed to eat in a part where they could be quiet until the news showed the recording when the heroines met the boys who were causing chaos in society. Amy. They're definitely crazy. Uraraka. Being heroes is stupid. Momo. Girls, remember that we are with Izuku and he is a man. Izuku. It's okay, I'm not offended after all, that's what most women and girls think about men. May. So what's your opinion on this? Izuku. A man cannot be a hero, but nevertheless if they have adequate training and good equipment such as machines, tools among other things, they can be heroes. After all, the title heroine or hero is a title that has to be earned. It is not enough so it is signed on paper or on a digital platform that they are heroes, and that's it. Shota. So what is the concept of heroines or heroes? Izuku. They are those who risk their lives for others to keep them safe. They don't care about fame, fortune, nothing more than the world being safe and protecting everyone. But hey, that's my concept, maybe you have a different concept. Or something completely the other way around. Kasumi. Then try us. Izuku. How? Kasumi. Yeah, ask us a question or something. Izuku. Well, in a building that is burning there is a group of girls and a group of boys. They have time to save one group and get out of there in one piece. Which group do you choose? When asked the questions, the girls stayed thinking. Some said that the girls even let the boys die, while others said that the boys even let the girls die, and others did not answer. Hendo. What would you do? Izuku. I saved the two without thinking about it. Ibara. But you have time to save a group and come out unscathed, you said it yourself. Izuku. Yes, I said it, but that's where a hero gets in. I have time to save the two, but not myself. I risk my own well-being for everyone. That's what a hero does. Izumi. In a way you support their cause. Izuku. I don't support your cause, I just said what I think. I know you would do the same. The girls were surprised by Izuku's words, which echoed in their head about what a hero would do for him. Kasumi. Tell me, what cause do you support? Izuku. Excuse me. Kasumi. You know, you root for the heroines or those men. Izuku. I follow my cause. No one has to support a cause without a good reason. I don't have a good reason to follow their causes, so I follow my own cause. The girls only brought up the topic to continue with their thing for a while, until they left the place to walk down the street, but at one point they saw a building burning, so they approached to see how the heroines were pushing the people aside. They were in charge of preventing the fire from continuing. Momo. What's wrong? Heroine. Someone set fire to the place, it got out of control, and now this happens. There is a boy and a girl inside. We can't do anything to get in, our quirks are useless to get in. Izuku. What floor are they on? Heroine. We think in the third. They were covered by a small explosion. Izuku. Damn. The boy passed through the fences, avoiding the heroines to enter the building. When he entered he began to look everywhere with his eyes, in order to find a way to get to the children, until he went up some stairs. He was going up, but on the second floor the stairs broke, making the green-haired man almost fall into the fire. But Izuku didn't care, and kept running to the third floor, looking for a way to find the children, until he heard some crying, so he went to a door where he tried to open, but it was locked, so he kicked, breaking the door to enter, and see the two children being a boy and a girl of at least 4 years old, so he approached them. Izuku. Hello kids, it seems like you're not having a good time, come on, I'm going to get you out of here. The children did not want to leave out of fear of being understood by Izuku. Izuku. I understand that you are afraid, but if we don't leave we are going to end badly, come I'll help you. The boy took off his jacket to cover the children and lift them up, just to leave the room, which ended up falling, and the entire room stopped. Izuku began to run towards the secondary stairs, but before he got there, the floor ended up breaking. Izuku. Or come on, maybe you don't want to make it worse. The boy looked the way he came since the floor fell, so that he could see the last hallway, since it had a window, while outside the girls were worried about the green-haired man who entered without caring about anything. Izuku. It's all or nothing. Izuku began to run towards the window to end up breaking it with a jump. Everyone saw how the green-haired boy jumped out of the window, so that he ended up falling on a dump truck that had garbage, preventing the fall from being worse, so that he ended up in that part. Only for people to go to where Izuku was, who was protectively hugging 2 bundles in his jacket, so that the green-haired boy would let go, revealing that they were the 2 children who went to hug their mother. Izuku. That's if he was rude. The boy got off, although he ended up on the floor so he could start to get up, but the girls from class 1 began to help him. Hendo. Are you crazy, Izuku? Izuku. In these types of things, yes. They saw how the building collapsed. Izuku. And on time. Momo. Don't do that again. Izuku. Yes, I don't promise anything. Heroine. Young man, what do you think you were doing? This is the work of a heroine, not of a simple man. The heroines began to scold Izuku, who only listened to everything they said until a man spoke. Man. Why do they scold him? He saved those children. Man 2. It's true, you didn't do anything, and even though he didn't have a quirk, he threw himself into the fire, risking his life. Man 3. Leave him alone, he did what he had to do. The men began to stand in front of the heroines, protecting Izuku, who only watched this with Class 1A, who could not believe how Izuku's risky act caused the men to react that way, and more because they protected him. But at that time moment All Girl arrived. All Girl. Can you tell what's going on? Heroine. It's just. Man. That boy went in to save some children while they did nothing about it, and they dared to scold him, as if he were a villain for saving people and putting his own life at risk. The woman looked at the green-haired boy who was being helped by the girls from Class 1 being noticed by All Girl. All Girl. Tell me young ladies what those men say, is it true? Melissa. Yes All Girl, what they say is true. All Girl. In that case, young man, I thank you for saving those children without caring about your own good. Tell me, what do you want in return? Saying that, everyone looked at Izuku, who only showed a smile, making the women think that he was going to ask for something in return, showing his true form. Izuku. I don't want anything, all girl, those children being with their family is enough for me. That surprised the women, who just couldn't believe how the boy didn't want anything in return. Izuku. Look at the time, I have to go. The boy began to leave, although it was a little difficult for him. Melissa. Wait, Izuku, you're hurt. Izuku. I'll be fine, don't worry about me. The boy saw how the boy he saved and the girl approached him while they showed him her sports jacket. Child. Thank you for saving us. Girl. You're our hero. When he said that, everyone was surprised, even Izuku, who only smiled to bend down and leave the jacket with them. Izuku. Keep it, I don't care if you keep that jacket. The children were happy while Izuku just left the place before everyone's eyes, although the men looked at him with respect. Izuku walked to a point where he arrived at the base, putting on his mask and a cape to enter, only to go to his office. Where I take a seat. Todoroki. Tell me, how does it feel? Izuku. What are you talking about? He showed a video of how he saved the children. Todoroki. This is a huge step forward, now you're a hero. Izuku. Yes, but one for a short time, the heroines are going to do whatever it takes to get that video out. Todoroki. If, changing the subject, we finished the plans, we now have a way in and a way out, but we were missing a number of people. Izuku. How many of us will there be? Todoroki. There will be 10 of us inside, but when we leave, a van with 5 agents will be waiting for us, one will be in charge of driving, and the other 4 will cover us in cases where the heroines end up arriving and try to catch us. Izuku. I think it's very good, if you let me I have to train and I'll find out who the leader of the League of Villains is. Todoroki. Who? Izuku. Villain number 1, all for one. Todoroki. Is this a joke? Izuku. I'm afraid not, I have to go train if you let me. The boy got up to start walking until he reached a boat that he took to go to the island where he began training. Izuku. I have great physical training, but I have to train better with my power. The boy looked at his hands to sit down and stick his sword in front of him, reflecting half of his body. The boy began to meditate quietly with the sound of the waves and the wind only being heard in the place. Izuku was in his mind. In Izuku's mind, the boy was in the same pose, sitting with the sword in front, although everything was dark. It was a dark space while there were 5 spheres surrounding him. The first sphere had fire inside, illuminating everything. The second reflected the sea with all the water that it showed inside the sphere. The third was the earth, having a mountain with a landscape with trees among other things. The fourth showed the blue sky, making it more than clear that it was air, and the fifth showed only lightning around, being that of electricity. The boy meditated while the spheres surrounded him as they rotated around him. Izuku. I have to get peace if I want to handle it. The boy relaxed even more while out of his mind the boy on his arm began to shoot fire on the left side, while on the right he showed water only for him to open his eyes, showing that they were blood red like that time. Izuku looked at his eyes. Hands that showed the 2 elements which were going to great power. Izuku. Let's try this. The boy extended his hands in front of him to throw a large amount of fire and another of water. Izuku. Excellent, it's better than I thought. The boy had a smile as his powers only shined as he was seen as more powerful, and more so than the boy. Chapter 7. After Izuku spent some time with the girls so that he ended up saving some children apart from the men protecting him, so that he ended up going to train, so that he could end up awakening his power even more, becoming able to use 2 elements at the same time. And at this moment, Class 1 was calmly on the bus going to USJ. Although they talked about trivial topics until a topic of conversation that none of them expected came up. May. Hey girls, when we first saw Izuku you already knew him before, what relationship does he have with you? Kasumi. He is our brother's friend. Izumi. Although the one with me is my brother, the oldest by a few seconds. Mina. That explains why you two look so alike. Izami. One day our brothers decided to leave home with Izuku, and it was to be expected after all we treated them very badly, although the one who always ended up getting hit was Izuku because he told them to leave and that he was going to take care of us. Pendo. So for a long time he has been doing this kind of thing, saving people, protecting them. Yui. It's true, later we asked him where he and his brothers live so that one day they can meet again. Shota. I doubt he wants to say even a word. That Deku. Aiza. Girls, if you can leave your love interest, we have already arrived at the USJ. The girls blushed at this, but they only came out so that the same thing from the original story began to happen until out of nowhere, when Kuro Fem Kurogiri surrounded them to take them to other parts, but was stopped by the heroine 13 who ended up being injured. Kuro. Well, now that there is one less problem, girls, it's time to go somewhere else. Before he teleported them elsewhere, the door ended up in pieces, while a piece hit Kuro's metal part causing her to go away. Kasumi. What the buck? Out of nowhere they saw how 9 people with masks and black capes entered, drawing the attention of the villains and Iza, but the roof ended up breaking where Izuku entered with armor to target the villains. Izuku. Well, we will do this by hook or by crook, the good ones let us all go in peace, and the bad ones we are going to attack them. Tomu. I think it will be the hard way. Femtomura. Izuku. Well, if it's the hard way, then it will be the hard way. Izuku ended up shooting at the villains who left the place, so that Izuku ended up taking Iza and leading her to the class. Izuku. Now if you let me, I'm going to take care of some things. Izuku went to the battlefield to start shooting at the villains, hitting the target, leaving them unconscious, so that he could launch a missile at Tomu, but before he could do anything, he ended up standing in front of him, receiving the missile, but he was unharmed. Izuku. What the hell is that? Pillar 10, 8, 6 and 5 I want you to protect the girls and take them away from the place. Pillar 9, 7, 4, 3 take charge of protecting them from a distance. Pillar 2 help the heroine 13 who is injured. I want you to heal her. When they take them out, I want them to come back to fight. The pillars nodded to begin to do what was requested, being the ones who were close to the girls, and the 2 heroines taking out some rods that had electricity while they had guns in the other hands. One was only in charge of seeing 13, and the last one stood up. Some parts to function as snipers. Izuku. Let's see how long they can hold out on this thing. Izuku went against the thing while he was stared at by the villainesses. Tomu. Nomu kills him. The thing called Nomu made the request to go against Izuku trying to hit him, but Izuku ended up using the part of the foot thrusters to kick him in the chest, so that in a spin, he launched some missiles hitting the Nomu squarely. He had some wounds which were healing. Izuku. With that he can heal. Izuku went against the Nomu to take out a kind of sword from his arm to cut him in the chest, making the Nomu scream, so that Izuku made a turn, causing a propeller in his leg to increase speed to kick him in the head, sending him against some rocks. Before the Nomu came out, Izuku extended his arms to launch a beam of energy against the Nomu, hitting it squarely while the class was only carried by the pillars, which when they saw some villains only used their staffs to hit the pillars. With electricity, apart from the fact that when they used the guns they fired electric bullets or a type of bullet with tranquilizer until they saw some villains approaching, so they shot with a shotgun, launching a net that had electricity. May. It's incredible, they have equipment that is used to render a person unconscious and not to kill. Melissa. How I want to see one of those weapons up close. Iza. Afterwards, now let's go. They ran until they managed to leave the place, so that the pillars threw a type of grenade at the doors, causing walls to be made, leaving them locked in with the villains. The pillars turned to see the villains only to start shooting as they went against them. Izuku. What is this? He said it while his fist formed a kind of pillar to hit the Nomu, sending it flying, and even more so, being a propeller, he used it at the elbow of the attack. Tomu. We discovered a way to make men have a quirk, even if they have to become monsters and become like our servants, abandoning their memories. Izuku remembered when that villain from a long time ago wanted to catch them and mentioned something about a Nomu. Izuku. You villains are the monsters. Izuku went against the Nomu to shoot him with all the arsenal he had, so that he ended up receiving a blow in the face from the Nomu, who went against Izuku to give him another blow, leaving him against the floor so that the boy could roll, avoiding being stepped on by him. Nomu who made more steps to crush Izuku, but the boy got tired of continuing with the same thing, so using his arms he jumped, kicking him in the face to make a mallet in his arm to hit the Nomu away. But the Nomu went against Izuku to try to give him a blow from above, but Izuku avoided it using his arms blocking the blow, but when the Nomu tried to give him another blow, the boy made the armor point small cannons against the Nomu, launching a kind of white gas, but when the gas went away, almost the entire Nomu's body was frozen, so Izuku broke the ice with one blow, while he took out the Nomu's arm, which moved away but made his arm regenerate to go against Izuku hitting him in the face, sending him against the rocks. Hiroshima. Izuku is in danger. He said it while the Nomu jumped in front of Izuku to start hitting Izuku who made a shield. Bakugo. Don't try to do anything, he can just do what he told you, and we just have to defeat all the villains we can as quickly as possible. He said it while he threw an electric grenade in the middle of a group of villains which exploded, leaving the villains unconscious. Todoroki. You're right. Izuku always knew how to get out of the biggest problems. He wouldn't be our leader if he couldn't do that. Izuku only covered himself from the Nomu's blows that increasingly left him on the ground, so that he remained underground. Jarvis. Sir, this is getting worse. Izuku. From what I see, yes, we will have to do something about it, so I want you to send energy to the chest. Jarvis. As ordered, sir. The Nomu dealt the blows, sinking Izuku even more until the boy took out the shield from his chest and launched a beam of energy hitting the Nomu that flew, so that it ended up outside of Izuku's enzyme, who slowly got up while looking at the Nomu that he recovered. Izuku. Now I'm really going to finish this. Jarvis, what do you have planned, sir? Izuku. What else? There's only one thing I can do with this thing when I'm angry for when they damage the armor. The Nomu went against Izuku, who did the same to stay close to the Nomu, but his chest shone brighter, so when he was close to the Nomu, he ended up using the beam from his chest, hitting the Nomu squarely, which ended up on the floor but couldn't move. Since Izuku did not stop attacking, he continued with the lightning without stopping at any point while he walked towards the Nomu, remaining in front of it until he stopped, so that the Nomu was unconscious. Nomu? Impossible, how did I defeat Nomu? Izuku? Now you guys continue. Before they did anything, the door ended up exploding to show what the heroines were like, so the villains left the place, and the pillars met in the center with Izuku. "Old girl. You guys are coming with us." Izuku? Why did we just save your students? They want to arrest us. Nisa? They are practically like heroes without having a license, so we have to arrest them. Izuku? I'm afraid that won't be the case. Flashback. The group was at the base thinking about the plan seeing once. Haminari. To be sure, Izuku, do you want to help a little? Izuku? Okay, what do you think if instead of taking a van to leave the place I send a message from the armor to come with a plane to look for us to avoid more problems, and while we leave I use the armor to fly away, will I make sure that no one follows us or bothers us when they are boarding the ship? Todoroki? Sounds like a better idea than ours. Izuku? It's more of a backup idea. Bakugo? And he had it in mind all this time while we spent days thinking about a good plan to be able to do all this. Todoroki? Sometimes you are a very good person, someone to love, but other times it seems like you try hard to make people hate you. Izuku? Well, what can we do? Let's go and prepare all the things. I wouldn't like to make a plan and go somewhere without having everything ready. That way they went to prepare everything. Then flashback. Outside the USJ all the reporters were talking as they recorded to focus on a plane that came to rest on the roof of the USJ within the USJ. The roof ended up breaking while the ropes fell, so that the boys could go to the rope. Izuku? I'm in charge of the heroines. Izuku made some reflectors from his shoulders which hit the heroines' faces squarely, causing them to remain blind for a few moments, so that the others could get on the plane. Bakugo? Ready Izuku, we have to go. Izuku? Okay. That way the boy left the place flying while the plane began to leave the place. While they were leaving Izuku noticed something on his armor. Izuku? Two heroines are approaching, you continue, I'll distract you, I'll catch up with you later. The boy stopped to look at the heroines who stopped in front of Izuku. Izuku? The heroines Endeavora and Kiga are a pleasure to see again. Endeavora? I won't say the same, now give up and tell us everything we want to know. Izuku? I'm afraid that's not an option. The boy launched an energy attack from his hands against the heroines who dodged it, so that Endeavora launched fire which was blocked by Izuku who made a shield, but had to move away from Kiga, who tried to attack, only reaching the point of touching the armor, with which launched some missiles which were destroyed by Kiga as he used his wings to launch his feathers. Endeavora got behind Izuku giving him a blow sending him against the floor, but the boy managed to stop in time to continue flying, being followed by the heroines who did not stop following Izuku. Izuku? You two are already very annoying. The boy entered a cave, being followed by the two women who avoided each part of the cave until Izuku managed to leave through a second entrance, only to quickly turn around and launch some missiles that hit the cave, causing the exit to be covered. Kiga. Damn, I can't follow it anymore. Izuku was about to leave, but he noticed Endeavora who tried to attack him, but the boy dodged her. Izuku? Don't you get tired of following me? Endeavora? I can't get enough of people like you. Izuku? And if I propose to you, is there? Endeavora froze for a few moments, being noticed by Izuku who took the opportunity to leave. Endeavora? Hey, where are you going? The woman followed him until Izuku went into the sea underwater, making Endeavora stay still looking at the water, while Izuku only left the place, losing her completely to go to the base, reaching it. Todoroki? Apparently you got rid of her. Izuku? Yes, by the way Todoroki, I have a gift for you. Todoroki? What is it now? Izuku throws him a piece of meat while he left the place being seen by everyone. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.